So Jonathan Majors, I was saying, is he going to be Kang still? Will that work? Well, Jonathan Majors just went to court, and a lot of news is coming out from that. It's not good news for Jonathan Majors, I don't think. And now you to our featured story of the night. All right, everybody. I want to talk about Jonathan Majors for 1 second here. Well, of course, a little bit more than 1 second, because Jonathan Majors went to court today, and the news came out. I know a lot of people online have been like, and I get it, it's allegations. We don't really know what happened until we get all the evidence, and I say that right away going up front here about this. But so it came out, and he's going to trial. So if you haven't heard this yet, he's going to trial. Now, he's going to trial November 29th for domestic abuse against his girlfriend at the time, Grace. And at the time, everyone said, well, his defense was saying, oh no, it's fine. Like, the taxi cab driver is going to be, there. They got footage from the taxi cab. He's going to be a witness to be like, this didn't happen. There's a club footage out there about her, and she's dancing afterwards. But now, God forbid. But they said that, it'll be all dropped today. It's all going to be dropped today. The DA said yesterday, there's no way we're going to drop this because there's more information, discovery information that happened in London in 2022 that actually will change the whole course of this case. Now, the defense said they don't want to get this out there. They do not want this information to come out there. They want to seal this information and keep it out of the public, because they're saying if this information gets out, it will change the way that the actual jury will portray him. It will change his narrative in the media, and it will not give him a fair trial. So what is the information? Well, there's not much known about, but there are medical records from the United Kingdom that have photographs taken, medical providers, and correspondence with the police about an incident that happened in September of 2022 when Jonathan Majors was shooting for Loki. When he was sitting there for Loki, he's shooting for Loki, and apparently something went down. I think it's between his girlfriend at the time, Grace, and him. So the idea is he probably abused her in September of 2022, and then he's abused her again in March of 2023. Those are the allegations coming forward. Allegedly, those are the allegations. So that information has been sealed, though, that the court said they will not let it out there. They're going to hold it back. Now, if the media want that information, they can request it, and then the court may release the information before his court date. But the defense is saying it could actually affect the whole trial. And that's the whole thing to me. It's like, is it going to be like an Amber Heard thing, or what's it going to be? I don't really know what's happening. It's all allegedly. But I'll tell you one thing. The taxi cab driver, he said that this statement that came out from him is not his statement. It's not real. He never said any of that stuff. But his video footage of the taxi cab, it's not real. It doesn't exist. All these women that came forward to tell Jonathan Majors was such a good guy, all the women that went to him, and only like one of them said that she actually gave that statement. The rest of they didn't want that stuff out there. It's not them. That's not their voice. So people are saying around the internet that maybe his defense is, kind of putting this persona out there, putting information out there that's not actually real to make people feel good about him and then drop the case. I don't know. But these allegations of something happening in the UK when he was shooting Loki is not good. The fact that, they're saying that the prosecution says they have 5 or 6 women who also said they've had bad experience with him, part of this discovery. What's this going to do for Marvel? What's this going to do for Jonathan Majors? They said this will all be dropped today, and it's definitely not dropped today. A lot of information about it. And it's like, the whole thing too, they gave more information about how, the text message came through. He grabbed her. She tried to run away. He pulled her back in the cab. Is all this true? Did he abuse her back in September? We don't really know yet. We have to wait for the information to come forward. But the defense also wanted to charge her for domestic violence. And the court said, there's no way. We're not going to do that. And back in September, this was put up there, and they said, we're not going to do it. So we're going to find out more in November. But my idea is my question I should say out there is, will this affect Marvel? Is Marvel upset right now? Are they shitting their pants right now? This information coming out there, because it's not good PR. Regardless if it's true or it's not true, they're not. It's not good for Marvel. It's not good for Loki right now. That's airing on Disney Plus. It's not good for all of the cinematic future, because he's a big part of it. We all know how big of a part Jonathan Majors' character is. What do we think about this, Sean? I'm gonna go to you first. Do you think that this will monumentally change how Marvel looks at everything, or do you think they're just going to stay quiet and wait till November? Because this seems pretty damaging, doesn't it?
Oh, it absolutely is. In my eyes, it is why I think they hedged their bets in the promotion of Loki. It's why Jonathan Majors was absent from a lot of the promotions that went on here. It's why he's considered a special guest star and not a main person of Loki. I think it's them kind of saying, hey, this might not happen. He's obviously, regardless of what happens here, like I'm waiting to see how the trial goes, but I can't imagine with the amount of stories that I've been told and all this kind of stuff, like it just doesn't seem like he's going to continue in the MCU after this. I would consider Marvel doing the right thing here with a recast. I think it'd be easy to do. He did fine in Ant-Man. He did fine in Loki, but I wouldn't want to associate or work with someone like that. So I'm not sure. I think Marvel will likely adjust their plans, or again, we'll get what we want, which is Denzel Washington being Kang.
Yeah, it's an easy thing.
I think recasting it and making it, just kind of clarify, calling it out like it's a variant thing. It can be as easy as a swap out like Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2. There's precedent for this happening in MCU before. But there's one thing we've learned about Mickey Mouse, and Brian, go ahead, do your
No.
you don't fuck with the mouse's money, all right?
No.
And so he's gonna get he'll likely get removed, and they'll make amends any way they can, and we'll all just move on with Denzel Washington Kang.
I would be about that.
Yeah.
and also, like Queen was saying too, like you do a lady Kang too. They already have a lady version of Loki. They could do something like that too. That could be a possibility. Yeah. Or you just age them up, and there's a lot of options.
Like, the woman who is playing Rowena. No, Rowena.
Regina.
Ravina, whatever Slayer. She's doing a fantastic
Blade
job
Slayer
too.
Bloodslayer?
Oh, I hate her.
It's not Bloodslayer. No, what?
Renslayer. Renslayer. Fuckers.
How come I'm the one with the fucking correct information on this? We've gone into a fucked up timeline here.
I also have the correct information tonight. You dress up one day and you think you're the best.
Renslayer, you pieces of shit. Okay.
Fine. But I hadn't considered that until I just read Rachel's comment. I actually think it wouldn't be a bad idea.
It was actually Queen that suggested it. Mm-hmm. There you go. Boom. I'll put that one up.
Rachel, my bad. Okay, yeah.
Queen Gonzona with the hot take.
Yeah. Because this is, honestly, November 29th, it's not that far away, but it just seems like there's more and more evidence stacking up. And the fact that they tried to get this dropped multiple times, regardless, it's
on dumb grounds, by the way.
It's just a hairy situation for Marvel. And people are getting a little quiet online right now about this because this information comes out. People get a little quiet because we really don't know until you hear all the facts. And if there's multiple occasions, Sabrina, if it does come out, this UK thing, we don't know what the police report is, but the police report was hidden, it was sealed, and no one knew about it, and the prosecution found out about it, and they asked for the information to come to them. So if that information ties into being like the same person was abused by him, I feel like that's going to really kill his case. And they said it's damning. They said that the defense said this is damning. That's why they don't want it out there, because we have no idea. But Sabrina, if it's so damning, do you think that regardless if that's it or it's not that, if it's that damning, do you think that if you're Marvel, do you have to start thinking about maybe we do recast, maybe we start having those meetings and start throwing some names around, or do you think they've already had those discussions?
I'm sure they have had those discussions. They're definitely, especially with the strike and everything, they probably have a lot of time on their fucking hands. So I'm sure they have definitely had those discussions, and they probably do have a pretty solid plan B at this point, I would think. To go back in the situation that we're in, not possible. You couldn't recast him and just not release Loki. Like, it's just unfortunately not an option for them, As far as Jonathan Majors is concerned, there is a lot of talk, not that it means that it's true, but like when this came out, there were like many other people who came forward, and like other people were like, oh, he's known in the theater community in New York as being this way and blah, 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 and this and that. Like, so there was a lot more like, fodder about what this person actually is as a human being, as opposed to, conjecture, so I feel like there is a weird, again, as Brian said, innocent until proven guilty. Allegedly, like, I don't know. I have no idea. But at the same time, like it does seem like it is a rope that is just unraveling thread by thread. So I don't think he is going to stay Kang. And the beauty of Marvel, like Queen and other people have said, like it's a multiverse. How many different characters? Look at Loki. Look at Loki. Just look at Loki. Like there were 15 people that played Loki in that series in the first season.
Yeah.
So you can very easily have a different Kang. For some reason, though, in that same series, they have He Who Remains and like the Council of Kangs, and they are all exactly him, which I find very strange and not too.
Like the Spider-Man thing, you're saying all Spider-Man are different.
They reaffirmed it just now, though, with episode 3, though, which is the crazy thing. I was not
because they fucking shot it.
That.
And what are you going to shoot something during a writer strike and an actor strike like that? What are they going to do?
Yeah,
they're like, we're just going to roll with this. They had to. They did. But first season, they also had the Council of Kings. They also spoke about it. They also showed the statues. They all like so it was still a thing then before any of this shit happened. So like I feel like. Now with the second season, you can't make any of those adjustments, unfortunately, because of the situation that Hollywood is in. However, like if they would have first season gone about having to, and at the end of Batman, there were 100 different Kangs, but they were all fucking him.
Yeah.
He should have had other people being him. Because Loki, there's old Loki, there's young Loki, there's alligator Loki. Idea. There's, you know what I mean? Like there are so many different Lokis. Like, why didn't we do that with Kang? I'm saying alligator, crocodile, whatever the fuck, Sean. Jesus Christ, are you kidding me?
No, it's alligator.
Fucking, you know, it's like rein it in. So yeah, I feel like they perpetuated him as that person so much, and then at the end of Batman and the post credit scene, where like it's like a billion of him. Like I feel like that was their mistake, in my opinion. Like they should have had other versions of him and it would have been easier to make the switch, but I still don't think it's going to be hard to make the switch. And also, like, I mean, he's a good actor, don't get me wrong. Like that there's that San Francisco movie that he did. I can't remember the name of it. I'm sorry, but San Francisco is in the name, so don't get mad at me. He was spectacular. He was very good in that Lovecraft series. You know, he's a great actor. I don't love him as Kang, to be perfectly honest with you. I just don't. I never have. But other people do. It's not a flavor that I enjoyed, unfortunately. So I've always been for recasting him. Now, very, very, very much so. And I love what Queen said and that Rachel reaffirmed. A fucking woman Kang, great. We've been hashtagging Denzel Washington for Kang for a very long time on this show, and I'm still for that. But I am down with a lady Kang, and I'm gonna find an amazing person in my brain.
There's no reason not to. There's zero reason not to have a great lady Kang,
right?
For sure.
She should be there anyways. Mike, do you think that, like we're talking about right now, recasting, you know, regardless of the allegations, recasting.
I love
that. Do you see anybody else playing this?
Of the allegations. This is an interesting story. Totally outside of the realm.
Totally
of the
off
fact
the.
there are
nothing to do with that at all.
Allegations that are involving. Like it's still something worth commenting on.
If you had your druthers, would you recast him with somebody else? You know, you like the Lady Kang dynamic, then that could be good. And do you think that Marvel really is probably thinking about this at this point, because it's getting deeper down the rabbit hole for this whole investigation?
Let me try to be respectful right off the bat. Who would I cast if I was casting a Lady Kang?
That's tough.
It's tough.
That's a great question. Like there's plenty of incredible actresses out there that would be
Meryl Streep.
Oh my God! Thank you so much.
Who played Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica? She hasn't had a lot of great.
Zendaya's too young.
Let me Zendaya. There you go. Let me give it to her. What's interesting to me is that
Viola Davis.
Oh,
who was that?
Viola Davis.
But she's like in the DC stuff too, isn't she?
Well, whatever. They do that. They do crossovers.
Yeah.
They do crossovers.
Not that often.
Often enough. Rachel likes it.
What's surprising to me is that we've had this conversation. I've had this conversation with you guys a half a dozen times, and that's not. I'm not even with you guys all the time. So we've had this conversation even more than that. Like I was super surprised to see the third episode of Loki the other day, and Victor Timely was right there. Like, he just showed up. Like, am I the only person that was surprised to see, like, oh, this seems like Disney is making a decision here? Like,
no, that was the end scene of fucking Ant-Man. That's why they had to do that. That was the end scene of Ant-Man was right. Owen Wilson and Loki. Okay. Was his real name?
Right, they're referencing it. Yeah.
That guy.
Tom Hiddleston?
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston. They saw him being hit. Like, that was how they tied in Ant-Man. That's how they tie in the movies to the thing.
So do you expect that he's not going to be continuing to be present in further in season 2 of?
I mean, it depends, like, how it ends. It depends on how it ends, how they can spin it. Until we see the last episode, we can't conject like how that would happen. Honestly,
him and Ms. Time. What's her name? TikTok.
Oh,
TikTok lady, what is it?
Strong.
Yeah, Miss Minutes. She's getting her sexy on now, isn't she?
Yeah, they were.
Anyway, thank you, Rachel and Jr. I will be Lady King all day.
It was making me like.
Miss Minutes is just getting there, you know.
She was all blushing. She's like, "Why? I could have been your girl." And I'm like, "Damn, Tara Strong, rein it in." It was a lot.
I don't feel comfortable putting this on the internet. My feelings. It's okay.
It's a lot, right?
It was a surprise to me. So, like, just basically based on the fact that there's been a lot of heat behind Jonathan Majors, and that we were really in a area where we were not sure what Disney, this massive cash flow, where they were going to go with this. And they allowed they reeled out a little bit more to us, which either to me makes me think that they have some confidence in the way that his legal battles are going to play out, or something else. I don't know.
I think it was too far gone, Mike.
Yeah,
it was too far gone.
Should we not expect these massive flows of cash, like Disney, to have an investment in terms of the moral quality of their actors? Like, I don't know.
I mean, I don't think they had any idea, though.
I haven't thought of what the consequences of a question like that are, honestly.
Kind of true.
Richard Tracy's kind of right, kind of like an Ezra Miller situation, but I mean, not convicted yet or anything. But you're right. But do they have a morality clause?
It's comparable, Richard.
Do they put a morality clause in their contracts? I don't know. It's like I think it's like one of those things, Mike.
That's bottom line.
No, they do. They put a morality clause in every fucking contract. That's a thing. But like at the same time, like no corporation, especially Disney, is not going to put a morality clause in their contract. They can get away if they want to, but he has to be convicted. It can't just be someone accuses you. You know what I mean? It can't just be like I point your finger at you.
I think that they can say like you got enough stank on you. We don't give a fuck. Like if you got the stank, like peace. Like I think that is written. I think you're Sean. You know a lot about marketing. Is that how it's written in the wording? Is that if you have sufficient stank, we fuck off?
The contracts that I've ever written on all the Hollywood level caliber commercials.
Jesus Christ. This fucking guy.
People want to know. They want to say. Actually, I was involved with a contracting for
it's not a joke anymore.
A regional cable provider in the early aughts. I hadn't thought about that actually. But yes, there are morality clauses. Yes, they are highly enforceable, and it's like Mike says, it's even the appearance of potential stank. Can get you.
Thank you.
Shit.
Stank is not good. Nobody wants to stank.
Keep
that stank ass.
I mean, sure, but my point is, they can absolutely fire him, but it's like, is it worth it to do that? They're waiting for a fucking answer.
Yeah,
they're waiting for what the outcome is, because they have based this whole next phase of their fucking cinematic universe on this fuck. Like honestly,
is it worth it? Is it worth it? Ask the algorithm. That's what they're doing.
No, I'm sure, but maybe they're asking AI, which they're not paying anyone for. But it's very weird to me that like they're just like, oh, maybe on this way, like I don't, like they want to see how it's going to turn out and how the fucking test things proceed, like how people feel about it. They're waiting for what the reception is of Loki, 100%. You know what I mean? And then have people that literally
numbers. It's
right,
just
but
numbers. It's all investment. That's all that the investors care about.
They have test audience watching shit. They ask people, how do they feel about Kang? How do they feel about Jonathan Majors? They do all of these things. Like it's Disney. It's not like it's
they're the machine.
me. Like I have a nut company that like puts weed on that. I'm like, hey, how do you feel about that? Do you like that? People are like, oh, that's really great. No, I don't. I'm making an arbitrary situation up. Making an arbitrary situation. Like I make chocolate chip cookies laced with weed. So do you like the weed? Do you like the? Okay, you know what, Mike, you're fired. Stop it right now.
You said you make chocolate chip cake cookies.
I'm just making it.
And I said, I think that's legit.
We're way out there right now.
Fuck me.
We're
Jesus
way out there.
Christ.
But yeah, the morality clause is Disney's got a problem on their hands. Jonathan Majors is going to trial on November 29th. We're not sure what's going to happen until that's all allegedly, but I feel like there's some bad shit in his future. And there's a lot of news coming out that people are going to start wondering what's true and what's not.